Welcome to Kumba Software DPAA tutorials. This tutorial is about deleting certificates, and it's specific to the certificate management screen in DPAA. There's another video related to this for deleting objects. This one's very specific to certificates and the ins and outs of doing so. So be sure to set your video playback to high definition, and though some visual details may have changed since this video was created, the functionality will be the same. So I'm starting out with a couple of appliances selected and one domain selected. We could do multiple domains, and we're not limited in that way. I'm on the Find and then the Certificates tab. So Find and then the middle tab underneath that is Certificates. And I've already listed all the certificates within the test domain of the two different appliances. And so you can see I have a couple of appliances represented here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly select a couple of certs here that are going to kind of be interesting to us to be able to remove. And I think it's pretty important to see some of this happen. So I'm going to select these certificates in pub cert, shared cert, regular cert, and we're going to get to see some variances in the way these different certificates are configured and what kind of objects are going to be removed if we decide to delete these certificates. So once I have the certificates that I want to remove, I can either use the hamburger menu, or I can right mouse click over my selection and I can select delete selected certificate objects. So when we do this, we get a dialog screen that is the delete objects dialog is specific to these certificates. You're not removing keys, you're not removing other things, key objects or ID creds or val creds, you're just removing certificates. So we have the option to cascade deletes. If I select that, the idea here is it will cascade into references such as password map aliases. And then we also have the option to delete referenced files, which means that we then have the additional option to delete files that are referenced by these certificates. And this is useful for if you just want to make sure that your DataPower appliances are clean. You don't have to go also hunt down those files and do those other things. So we're going to cascade those deletes. But you're going to see in a moment that we need to be careful when we do some of this. So I'm going to click Next. The next screen gives us an exemption list, and this is a global exemption list that you can actually save. So the reason why this showed up like this already is it's not some default in DPAA. You have to build this list, and it's a set of regular expressions where you can define an individual appliance, a domain, an object type, and an object name. Now in DPAA, there's an implicit object type of a file. And so we can protect files whose names begin in, say, pub cert or shared cert, or we can protect files that are in the store. We can protect all objects named default, and we can protect some other things as well. And you can build this list as complicated as you want. And the idea of this list is to prevent you from accidentally removing. So if you're deleting a whole bunch of stuff at once, like 10 different appliances, and there's going to be a lot of things listed, what you're doing is you're protecting these things from accidentally being deleted. And we're going to see that here in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and select Next. And what DPA is doing now is it's hunting down the references of all the objects that I have selected. And you're going to see that it's not all together straightforward what references what. So we selected, one of the IBM certs, and we see that we had cascaded into files, and it's saying, okay, we can delete that. It's referenced by this cert. Nothing special there. Here's the other one. But when we get to this one, we see something interesting, that not only does this certificate reference this file, but it also references a password alias. So it would want to delete this password alias as well, which we in fact may want to do. If we're saying we're getting rid of this certificate, maybe we want to get rid of the password alias, but we may not want. If that password alias is used in a variety of places, we can veto that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I want you to pay attention to these two entries, this here and this here. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to unselect this one. And when I do so, I want you to notice that that one became unselected as well. And the reason this happens is because we have this checkbox called synchronize delete choices. The assumption DPAA is making is if I'm going to veto the delete of this one in this appliance and domain, I probably also want to delete this one in this appliance and domain. And again, expand this in your mind to 10 appliances or whatever. You would not want to have to go and hunt down every one of these and uncheck it if you want to preserve them all. What you're effectively saying with the synchronized delete choices on, that we want to synchronize that and we want to protect, in this case protect, it could be the delete side, but we want to protect this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off and show you the opposite effect of this. So I'm going to go down to this one, and I'm going to check this one back on, which says I want to delete that one. Notice how this one did not turn back on, and that's because we've turned this off. Had I had that on, this one would have selected again. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these just for the fun of it, but I'm going to turn back on synchronize just in case I select something else here. This one is interesting. And you see there's some things in here that are not selected. And this is due to the exemption list from the previous screen, where we're trying to protect things that are in the shared cert directory and in the pub cert directories, because, as you know, these may be referenced in completely different domains. We may want to remove the certificate object, but we definitely may not want to remove the objects in shared cert or pub cert. However, we can choose to do so by making the selection here, and notice the other one was selected as well. The other shared cert was selected as well, and we can remove them from pub cert. I'm going to do the full delete, but you would have to go through here, obviously, and make the appropriate selections for what you want to delete. What we're trying to prove is that pub cert and shared cert objects and files will be deleted here appropriately as well. So when I have reviewed my table list and I've examined everything here, I'm going to go ahead and select finish. So DPAA now is going through and removing the certificates and things that I had selected. You see them disappear from the list, and it's going through and removing things. Now, one rule about DPAA and DataPower still is observed here. If we attempt to delete an object that is referenced by another object, DataPower won't let us do that, and neither will DPAA. There's not a quick workaround in this case to solve that problem. DPAA does work down the hierarchy list, but since we started at the certificate level, if one of these certificates had been referenced by a validation credential or an ID cred, or in some other way, then it might have been protected by DataPower, and therefore not correctly deleted. We see that the domain is dirty here, and so what we can do is we can just persist our collection or our domains, and we save those configs that easily, and in a moment this will disappear, and now we're done. So if you have any comments, suggestions, or what have you, go out to www.kumbasoft.com. You can watch all the other tutorials there, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel or these videos and the Kumbasoft channel for updates on everything we do with the product, even updates we do in areas of the product. We may improve just something on this screen, and we may update just this video, and you might want to know what updates have occurred in this area of the tool. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.